Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts, and yes, everybody, the podcast is back. I'm so excited to get back into doing this. I really do miss doing this. So, anyways, let's continue on with the Chainsaw Reacts podcast, episode number 34. Let's talk about what the four topics are going to be today. Yes, you heard that right. Four topics. Anyways, let's continue on. Topic number one is going to be the Star Wars The Force Awakens pre order tickets breaking records. This is insane. I want to talk briefly about this. I'm going to jump to that first. Obviously, Star Wars, of course. Topic number two is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp has been announced. I'm really excited to talk about this because when they announced this movie while I was on vacation, all I was thinking to myself, oh my god, yes, finally we're going to see the Wasp on screen. Topic number three is going to be a little bit different, but I do want to talk about this. How Gotham could be a better show. I'm going to talk about the Gotham show that's currently airing on Fox right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think that show could be better. So that's to the fans who are watching Gotham right now or haven't seen Gotham is kind of annoyed about it. I'm going to give them kind of my, a few tips of how the show could have been better if they would have started it a different way. I'm not going to talk about how they could currently fix it now. I'm talking about how they could have made it different and better at the start of when they first started the show. Anyways, topic number four is going to be Walking Dead Season 6 death predictions, who I think is going to die in Season 6 of The Walking Dead. So obviously spoilers on that. And of course on topic 3, Gotham. So there you have it. Anyways, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this damn podcast already. Okay, topic number one is going to be, of course, Star Wars The Force Awakens breaking records with pre order tickets. This is insanity. When I was reading all these reports, I was astonished of how crazy this was. And I'll give you my little story of how I knew this was going to be something significant. So Monday night, before the trailer premiered, about 2 hours before the trailer premiered, when I was checking on Fandango on my iPhone, it popped up the dates where you could pre-order tickets. So they released, at least on Fandango, I'm not sure if they did it with AMC and other major theater chains, if you could pre-order tickets before the trailer aired, but Fandango 2 hours before was allowing you to pre-order tickets, except it was taking a long ass time, which means a lot of people found out they were releasing it early, where you could pre-order tickets early before the trailer even premiered, and I was caught stuck. But luckily, I got my tickets. I'm all good. But the fact that the Fandango app was running really, really slow, and I actually had to do my transaction all over again with my debit card because it would not take. The loading was like 5 minutes in, still not accepting the card, and it was because the freaking app was slow as crap because it was getting clogged up with so many people trying to pre-order tickets for Star Wars. And the numbers came out, not really specifics. I think they said $6.5 million already earned in IMAX screenings. That's just IMAX screenings. But they said that on some cases, on like Fandango or something like that, I get this confused. I could obviously look at the report, but it would mess with my recording here. But I think it said Fandango's pre order ticket record was broken by 8 times, which the record was previously Mockingjay Part 2 Hunger Games. But apparently for Fandango, the record for pre-order tickets was broken in 24 hours by 8 times. 8 times the record. And then I believe they said on AMC, like the theater chain, that their pre-order tickets was broken, the record was broken by 10 times. So regardless if it's 8, 7, 10 time breaks, this movie is going to earn so much money opening weekend. And that does not even count overseas. That does not even count what it's going to make in the week after it releases on weekend and then following into the next weekend. Opening weekend for North America for domestic box office is going to be through the roof. I personally believe it's going to break the Jurassic World opening weekend record. Even though the Jurassic World opened up in summertime of 2015 and it beat Avengers, the first Avengers movie by just like barely, but it still beat the record. But I personally believe that The Force Awakens, by the pre-order tickets, the fact that when we actually get to the Thursday night, which I'm seeing it Thursday night, but probably by the Thursday before the official December 18th full release, December 17th, that Thursday, they're probably going to be removing movies from certain showing in theaters across the United States just to put more Star Wars screenings in to get everybody in, because there are going to be lines and lines and lines on Thursday night, throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, demanding tickets. And when they're sold out, they're going to remove timings from other movies to let people watch more Star Wars. So don't be, dumbstruck. Do not be, like scared or like confused if you go to a movie theater during the weekend of Star Wars and see that the majority or all of the screenings are just Star Wars, because that's probably going to happen. This is a event. Let alone the fact that it was technically an event when the trailer aired on TV. It was an event online. It was an event on pre-order tickets. We have never seen this humongous flux of fans getting pre-order tickets, watching the trailer, watching TV for the trailer. It's insanity. This was a humongous event we may never see again. And episode 8 and episode 9, if episode 7 is good, episode 8 and episode 9 will probably have events, but not like this. I think this is a once in a lifetime event, at least for movie fans, and especially for Star Wars fans, to realize how big the fandom is. So I can't wait to finally see the movie. I'm hoping that with all this great news of it breaking pre-order records and all this kind of stuff, that it's going to destroy box office records. It's going to stay in theaters. It's going to take over other movies from screenings. It's going to start playing Star Wars instead of Alvin and the Chipmunks, whatever movie they decided to move on the date. It's going to get kicked out and all that shit. So I cannot wait for this damn movie. If this event has any indication of what opening weekend is going to be, trust me, there's probably going to be families, not even one person, families going to see this movie multiple times on that weekend if they can. There's going to be so many people at all these theaters that they're probably not going to be able to see it again till the week of after it's done, so they can go see it after the weekend craze. And then when the week is we have 3 o'clock in the afternoon, okay, well, it's Christmas week, we have nothing to do, let's go watch Star Wars. And they're still going to be packed on the week of Christmas. It's going to be ridiculous. I wouldn't be surprised if Christmas Day, people, after they open their presents in the morning of the little kids, and then the families get together, jump in the vehicle, and jump on to go watch Star Wars again. It's probably going to happen. That might happen to me too, depending on how great the movie is. If the movie is fantastic, trust me, I'm going to see it multiple times. Anyways, I'm rambling. So let's take a sip of the drink. I'll jump into the second topic. Back to awkward drinking. Yeah. Only for the people that actually stick through the drinking part will hear that. Anyways, topic number 2 is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. I was so thrilled to hear this piece of information. Now, the only negative, before I get to all my positives about this, the negative I do want to mention is that now it's pushed more movies around. It pushed up Black Panther, which is good. We get to see Black Panther by a few months early, which is good. But it pushed back Captain Marvel, which is a bad thing. But it is what it is. The fact that they squeezed this movie in, I'm surprised they did, but I think that with how successful it was domestically, but how really big and successful it was overseas, I think really pushed Marvel to add this into the slate. I mean, they already added Spider-Man in, which, threw the whole slate into craziness. But now adding this in did a little bit of craziness, but not too much like Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man moved 3 movies around. This only moved 2, but it kind of benefited us for Black Panther because it pushed Black Panther up, so that's good news. So anyways, let's get to the actual positives about this story. So, for me, hearing that Paul Rudd and I forget how to say her name, Evangeline Lilly, God, that name is just so bizarre. My brain just cannot wrap around that. Evangeline Lilly, I'm probably butchering that. Anyways, the Wasp, that's who she's going to be, is returning. So Paul Rudd is Ant-Man, and the Wasp, Mrs. Lilly, is going to be returning, which I think is fantastic news because that tease, that post-credit scene with, her father, Hank Pym, showing her the suit, the original Wasp suit, I think, really was a huge indication we were going to see her again. But the theory was that we probably weren't going to see her until Infinity War, which now, with the Ant-Man and the Wasp, with her name in the title, it's her movie as well. So that's a really good sign. So basically, they're going to be teaming up, and we're going to see her before Infinity War. But this kind of guarantees we're going to see her in Infinity War Part 1 and probably Part 2, or maybe just one of the parts, depending on where the story goes. But for me, I'm really excited to hear this piece of information. I wonder if the rest of the crew from the first movie with Paul Rudd's crew the criminals that turn out to be good guys at the end who try to help out and all that kind of stuff, if they're going to be returning. They haven't said anything about Michael Douglas returning, but I hope he does because he was a great part of that movie. Michael Douglas is a fantastic actor. Excuse me, is a fantastic actor. But he is a fantastic actor, and I really hope that he does return for this movie, even if it's not a big role, because he was a significant part into teaching Scott Lang how to use the ants and how they could help him and all this type of stuff like that. So I'm hoping that he does return in some capacity. But what really surprised me about that movie, besides the special effects and besides how great the action and the comedy and how the story was really well developed and really executed, in my personal opinion, was seeing that flashback, kind of like the 1989. I believe that's the year it was told in the cinematic story, or see a younger Hank Pym talking to Howard Stark, Tony Stark's dad, and an older Agent Carter about the Ant-Man formula and all that kind of stuff, and how he just left Shield at that time. But it was a nice little scene. So if he returns again, Hank Pym, Michael Douglas, that'd be a really cool way to kind of maybe see another Marvel flashback type thing to kind of tell more story about his involvement with Shield, maybe before he left Shield, maybe like what was going on there. But overall, I think this news about Ant-Man and the Wasp working together is a fantastic thing, and this does confirm that they have big plans for her in the cinematic universe past this movie, because I think that if Ant-Man and the Wasp is very successful, way more successful than the first movie, and she is well received in it, she's well received in Infinity War, we might see a Wasp movie, or the Wasp movie, in Phase 4 of Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. So let's hope for that, because I mean we're all waiting around for the Black Widow movie. It still hasn't happened, and they're probably not going to do a Scarlet Witch movie unless it's like a movie that goes through her kind of story after Civil War, or after the Infinity War, if she's alive. Who knows at this point? And it kind of does some backstory with showing her brother and all that kind of stuff, and Quicksilver returns and that aspect of flashbacks, or maybe for her. But I'm really hoping that this move with having the Wasp in the next Ant-Man sequel, I guess you call it an Ant-Man sequel. I think it's going to be the Ant-Man sequel, but they have her name in it, so it makes me think that it's not really a sequel to his story, but really a continuation of the MCU, and it's going to be featuring both of them. So, but who knows? But I think that with this move, this kind of makes me think that they have a big plan in set for the Wasp. So if she's well received in the solo movie with Ant-Man, and she's well received in both Infinity Wars, if she appears in both, she might get a solo movie in Phase 4. So let's all cross our fingers and hope for that. Anyways, guys, let's take another sip of the drink, make it all awkward. Yeah. Topic number 3 is going to be pretty interesting, but hey, I have an opinion and I want to say it. So here we go. Topic number 3 is going to be how Gotham could be a better show. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I actually had a discussion with another reactor, Vinny Vegas, about this, and I was kind of joking, but I was also being very honest about it at the same time. I was just really trying to make him feel upset and make him, put him down, essentially, but it was just all jokingly. Obviously, I love him. He's a great guy, but what came out of it was what I really feel about the Gotham show. Now, when it first started airing on TV, season 1, I didn't watch it. I was not interested. When I heard that they were making a Gotham show with a young Bruce Wayne and all this kind of stuff, and like, and there's not going to be any Batman. Nope, no Batman, all about Jim Gordon. I'm like, nope. When it appeared on Netflix, I was forced, not really forced, but I was told by another reactor, Novel Reality, you saw her guest spot on the channel while I was on vacation. She told me, you need to watch a couple episodes of Gotham on Netflix. It's on Netflix, go watch it. So I started watching it on Netflix, and I am currently up to date with Gotham. I'm still watching. I'm on season 2 right now, watching it on TV when it airs on Monday nights. But here is what I think how Gotham could be a better show. Now, I'm not saying, okay, they need to make these changes now to make it a better show. I'm saying this is how the show should have originally been. And forget what happened in season 1. Forget what's happening right now in season 2 if you're up to date. Forget all that. This is what the show should have been at the very start, not how they could change it now. It's too late now. They've already dug themselves in the grave. Now they have to lay in it, essentially, and deal with it. Still watching the show, just being honest. So, first of all, the biggest change you make to the show is obviously age up all the actors, which means Bruce Wayne is going to be in his mid-20s, and instead of the story being about Jim Gordon becoming a cop in the GCPD in Gotham City, no. The story is about Bruce Wayne in the mid-20s, 24, 25, 26, starting to become Batman. Not him losing his parents at the very beginning of the episode and then him getting trained by Alfred and all that kind of stuff. No, he is putting on the cape and cowl and he is running around as Batman. Or maybe he doesn't even call himself Batman yet. He just calls himself the Vigilante or the Gotham Crusader or something. He just doesn't call himself Batman yet or whatever. They don't have to. But instead of him being a young kid dealing with the whole fact that maybe his father and mother's company is doing illegal things and they're not doing the right things, he is putting on the cape and cowl and he is essentially turning into Batman. And the villains, instead of the villains being older than Bruce Wayne and kind of becoming their villains, kind of not, and we're kind of not sure what's going on in that situation. Is he really the Joker? Is he really going to become the Riddler of the season? Is he really Black Mask? Is he really this and this and this and this and this and that? Is she really her? Is that her? What? All that. Just cast people who are going to become the villains. No guessing, none of that crap. If you are going to do this angle, which I think is a way more interesting angle to see him first becoming Batman, not he's already Batman, he's becoming Batman, then you start introducing, okay, here is Enigma. He's become the Riddler. We're introduced to his character. We're slowly building up to him putting on a costume, him becoming the Riddler. Okay, here is the Joker. Okay, here's him not the Joker, and he's slowly going to become crazy, and then the whole spiel of the chemicals happens, and he becomes the Joker. Okay, here is Penguin, okay? Here is him, Cobblepot, okay? Then he's going to slowly become the Penguin character we know from the comics, the animated show, all that kind of stuff. Because my one biggest complaint, besides the fact that it's a young Bruce Wayne, about a villain in this particular show is the Penguin aspect. Now, I understand that a lot of people love the portrayal of Penguin in the Gotham show, and after seeing the show and seeing this portrayal of Cobblepot, who he now embraces the name Penguin, that I understand why they casted him in the show as playing the Penguin. The problem I have is that he's too tall and he's too skinny. If he was tall and fat, it would be weird. He has to be short and chubby. That's the Penguin, okay? He's not a tall and skinny guy. He's a short and chubby guy. That's the whole point. Okay, he has the limp, sure. He's got the weird looking nose, sure. He's acting a little bit crazy, sure. But when you really think about it, if this was the show with him becoming Batman, not him becoming older and training to one day become the Batman in like 15 years or something like that, or 10 years, then you would introduce a short, chubby guy who starts taking control of certain parts of Gotham and trying to sell weapons and all that kind of stuff and start doing these crime type things besides thinking he's the king of Gotham. Penguin is not the king of Gotham, okay? It's not true. It's just not. He's just not the king of Gotham. That's the way they're portraying it in season 2. Don't believe it. That's not Penguin. Sorry. Penguin owns parts of Gotham, sure, but he's not the king of Gotham. Well, he thinks he is, but regardless, I think that angle would be a lot better. I think that also the Catwoman angle in the current show Gotham could have been portrayed a lot better if this show was in that where she is learning how to become a better thief and she doesn't have a costume per se, but she's starting to work on one. I think that would be a great angle, but I really do think if you really look at this, what I'm trying to explain here, that realistically it's if you age up Bruce Wayne and he's becoming the Batman, the whole story changes. The whole story changes. It's about Bruce Wayne. It's about him becoming the Batman. And Jim Gordon's involved, yes, but he is not the main focus of the story. He just can't be. If they would have did season 1 of Gotham, a brand new show, it's about Bruce Wayne becoming the Batman. He's in his mid-20s. He's starting to put on the cape and cowl. He's running around Gotham City, taking on bad guys, taking out villains, taking out criminals, all that good stuff. And the focus is still on Jim Gordon. You have failed this show. It's kind of reference to Arrow, you failed this city, but you have failed this show. You have, because you're supposed to be focusing on the most important character of Gotham City. And even if they would have, and I think that if they kept the show the way it is right now, and the focus was on Bruce Wayne completely, and Jim Gordon was a little bit, but he's not the main, character of the whole story, then I would still have an issue with it because we're looking at a very young Bruce Wayne who just lost his parents. It's a cool angle, but explore it in flashbacks. If you did it in the fact that he's becoming the Batman and he's running around Gotham, he's standing on rooftops, he's observing the city, he's going to have flashbacks of his parents dying. He's going to have flashbacks of growing up and dealing with the fact that he doesn't have any parents. Sure, Alfred trained him. Sure, you want to keep that angle in, fine. But we want to see the Caped Crusader. We don't want to see a 13, 12, 14-year-old boy being Bruce Wayne and going to school. No, we don't care about that. We just don't. And if you do, that's great. It's just not for me. I still watch the show because I'm invested. I want to see where they take certain characters, but I feel like a lot of characters could have been better used if the whole angle of Bruce Wayne is becoming the Caped Crusader was a huge factor and not him being a little kid in school. So we'll see what happens, but I personally believe if Gotham season 2 is the last season, they just stop making it. There's no season 3, all that stuff. The last episode, the very last shot is going to be like 10 years later or something like that, and then you're going to see Batman, and then the show ends, and then it's like, this is what you could have done in the first place. That could have been the opening shot of season 1, but you screwed it up. But thinking about this, you know, it it could be a way better show. Is it a good show? In some cases, yes. In other cases, not so much. It just feels like that they, like I was saying earlier, they dug the grave. They've laid down in the grave, and they really can't get out of the grave now because they kind of set it up this way. Because let's say hypothetically, in season 3 of Gotham, they jump ahead 10 years later, and everyone's older. Then Bruce Wayne's becoming the Batman. Everyone's going to say, well, okay, well, 2 seasons, you kind of wasted your time. If you're going to jump to that in season 3, you're just going to jump ahead in 10 years in time, and now he's becoming the Batman, or he is Batman, and we're going to learn about all that, in the upcoming episodes in season 3, then everyone's going to go, you kind of wasted your time. Because I was invested in before he became the Batman, and now you're going to jump to it. That doesn't make any sense, writers and show producers. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, I still love Arrow and the Flash way more than this show, and I'm hoping that Legends of Tomorrow, which is, the third show of the CW that's going to be crossing everything over, it's going to be the third show in the CW superhero lineup with Arrow, Flash, and then Legends of Tomorrow. I'm hoping that show is amazing, excellent, like Arrow and the Flash, because, for me, Gotham is a letdown. It's not a terrible, awful show, but it's just a letdown in the sense of there is so much they could have done. They just decided not to do it. So, realistically, we're kind of stuck with it. So here's hoping that they find a cool way to kind of make it more interesting. I mean, you could make it to where in season 3, Bruce, even though he's like 14 or 15 in the show, starts putting on dark clothes and running around Gotham trying to stop crimes. That'd be kind of interesting, but still not what it could have been. So there you have it. I'm done rambling. Okay, let's take a sip of the drink and let's get on to the fourth and final topic, everybody. Awkward silence drinking. Alright. Topic number 4 is going to be Walking Dead Season 6 Death Predictions. Now, this is going to be an interesting topic because we've already seen 2 episodes of The Walking Dead. The 3rd episode is going to be premiering the day after this podcast goes up. So we'll kind of get a sense of where this show could go depending on how episode 3 goes. Because if you've not seen the first 2 episodes of season 6, stop the podcast now because you can't listen to this section because you'll get spoiled. So, where you lost, I believe his name was Randy in episode 1 of season 6. The guy who was basically conflicting with Rick and saying, "Oh, we can't do this plan with all the zombies and pushing them west. It ain't gonna work." And he ultimately bites the dust. So, bye. But in episode 2, they didn't kill off anybody significant. They basically killed off no names, red shirts, as it was coined by Emergency Awesome, which is a great channel. Really enjoy his content, but I really like that where he said that basically a bunch of red shirts died in the second episode JSS because basically the main cast most of the main cast from The Walking Dead was away from Alexandria, trying to do this mission essentially to push all these walkers away from from their home, from their basically safe house. And it didn't work out for obvious reasons because we got to see the unveiling of what happened in episode 2 JSS. So they kill a bunch of no names to kind of dwindle the group down, but I think they personally did that for story reason. But anyway, let's get to the actual main point of this. I'm just rambling, get to the main point, damn it. Okay, who do I think is going to die in season 6 of The Walking Dead? Now, I can't obviously give specifics because I've not read the comics. I don't know where the story is going, obviously, because I don't write for the show. I don't work on the show. I have no idea. But who do I think is going to die this season? Doesn't really matter how, just if they're going to die and they're done. The biggest one that I personally believe, and my friend kept saying this to me, and I personally do think it's going to happen. He gave me 2 names, but I believe it's the first name he gave, which I really think is a really big possibility. Not because of the fact that, not because he's a big character and it'd be like amazing, but I think it would really push the group in a really dark situation and put them in a very, unfortunate situation. And also at the same time, it would really definitely make the story change in a really drastic way because they don't have that that really menacing voice that they used to have. He doesn't give a shit. Daryl Dixon. I personally believe he's going to bite the dust in season 6. Now, here's why. Because realistically, when you think about all of the seasons leading up to season 6, and even in the first 2 episodes, Daryl is one of the biggest cast members on the show, but he's also one of the most useful cast members on the show. He's one of the most useful people in the show because he hunts, he has the crossbow, he can kill without any hesitation. He's not afraid of anybody. He will do anything he can to survive. And for that, he can teach everybody how to do that, make everybody better, help everybody survive. If you take away Daryl Dixon, that is a huge thorn in everybody's side. That is basically a huge blow to the group. A huge blow to Alexandria, I personally believe, because he just would be a huge story plot point if he died, because now the group can't really rely on that factor anymore, because that used to be a huge factor. I personally believe that Daryl is probably the most useful person on the show besides Rick and maybe Abraham, but Abraham's strong. That's the only reason why I think Abraham has been around for this long and he's still around, because Abraham's a very strong character, like, muscle wise, but Daryl is more, lethal in the sense of that he will not hesitate to do the most dangerous thing if he has to. In my personal opinion, that's the way it comes across to me. So you take out Daryl in a very, not a horrific way, but take him out in essentially where he, is slowly dying like Tyrese did. I believe in season 5, Tyrese died. I could be wrong, but I believe it's season 5. But I think Daryl could have a very sweet ending to his life on The Walking Dead. I think that he could have flashbacks, maybe, hallucinations and stuff like that, because it's going to be a heavy hit. You can't just kill him easy and fast. You prolong it and make it a big event in the episode. But I think that could happen. Now, where it would happen in the show, I have no idea in season 6, like where they could do it. But I think that they'll probably wait until either mid-season finale or season finale. They just take out Daryl Dixon, and that's the way it goes. Another character I believe that has the possibility to die, I mean, when you really think about it, this character has been around for a long time, but the way that apparently the comics are going, that you just don't think to kill this character off, but I don't know. I've not read the comics, so I don't know. Michonne. Now, the reason why I say her is not because she has the katana and she a swordsman and all that kind of stuff, and a swordswoman, not swordsman, swordswoman, is that, she is another heavy, another heavy character for the show, because she has done a lot for the show. She's killed the governor's daughter in front of him. She's killed the governor. She's been a huge support to the group, and if you take her out at some point as well, probably not the same episode as Daryl, but if you take her out as well, that will make the group a lot more tight and a lot more frail at the same time. There'll be a tighter group. They don't trust anybody at that point. It doesn't matter what happened to her. They are very, very tight, but they are very frail because they don't have that voice. Because Michonne, on top of the fact that she's very lethal and deadly, is that she is the voice of reason a lot of times to Rick. Because if it's not Carol being the one to being the voice of reason to Rick and talking to him and all this kind of stuff, it's Michonne getting her point across and basically reaching Rick in some situations where he needs to be talked to and he needs to be told, hey, you can't really do this, you know? And so I think that that angle would be very, very powerful for the story if Michonne was taken out. Now, am I saying Michonne and Daryl are going to go at the same season? That'd be really heavy hitting, but I think that if you take out one of them and leave the other alive, okay, that's still a heavy blow. You take out both in the same season, ooh, you better bring in some characters that are going to be replacing them, and you know, because that is some heavy stuff if you take out both those characters in the same season. But those are really my two characters. I mean, I think that Rick, Carl, Carol, Abraham, Glenn, Maggie, I believe that they all have a chance of survival. Now, some have said, rumored wise, that Glenn or Maggie could go either or both of them could die at the same time. But I believe that Glenn and Maggie, in my personal opinion, it feels like to me Glenn and Maggie are going to stick it out till the end. That's the way it comes across to me. But watching episode 3, Maggie bites the dust, I'm like, oh, shit. But if you kill Maggie, Glenn's going to go down either a very depressive state and he's going to end up just dying, or he's going to go into very angry and rage, and eventually he'll die as well because he's going over the top, and then eventually someone is going to have to kill him, or a walker will get him, or walkers will start attacking because he just runs out there and starts killing zombies left and right because he just can't handle the rage anymore. He has to go kill. If Glenn dies, Maggie is probably going to either go depressive or anger. So I think it'd be very emotional if you took out both at the same time, but if you really want to get a good story, I think you take either or out, Glenn or Maggie, not both. Take one of them out and let the other suffer for quite some time until their ultimate demise. So there you have it, guys. That is the ending of the fourth topic. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast if you're still listening. And make sure you check out past podcasts. Links in the description, obviously, to past podcasts. If you have not heard any of the other past podcasts, all that kind of stuff, go check them out if you're interested. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. I'm done rambling. Blah, blah, blah. The podcast is back. Peace out, everybody.